Who created the universe? Was it a supreme being or something else? Is there a natural phenomena behind creation? The answers to this and more as we discuss the creation of the world in this chapter of Aadi. You're listening to Aadi, a podcast exploring Hinduism out of nothingness. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The first words of the book of Genesis from the Old Testament of the Bible are probably the most recognizable phrase in the English language. Over a period of 4 days, night and day, earth, sky, oceans, and land was created. On the fifth and sixth days, every living creature was created, and man was made in God's own image. On the seventh day, God rested. The Abrahamic faiths accept this statement as the truth. God created the universe and prepared a ground for life, and that everything that is exists as it did from that sixth day, from many years ago. The book of Genesis was first compiled in a written form between the 6th and 5th centuries BCE as a part of the Torah, one of the key texts in Judaism. The Quran was first codified in 632 Common Era on the instructions of the first Caliph Abu Bakr, the father-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad. Historical scholars agree that both these texts have been materially unchanged since then. In the case of the Hindus, our set of sources are much more extensive. The story of creation is mentioned across the various texts including Shruti, meaning heard. These are the texts like the Vedas and the Upanishads. Smriti, remembered texts like the Purans. And Itihas, literally meaning history, which are the texts like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Further guidance is found in the texts from the Satapatha Brahmana, which provides further commentaries on the Vedic texts and provides further details of creation. The main sources I have considered for the creation story are derived from the Rig Veda and the Bhagavad Puran, with some input from the Mahabharata and the Satapatha Brahma. Traditionally, the Vedas are considered aporasya, that is, not of a man. The word can also be translated as authorless. That is the great truth about the 4 Vedas, that they are unwritten and yet considered always existing. Of the 1028 hymns in the Rig Veda, 2 in particular focus on the Creator and on creation. These are the Nasadeya Sukta and the Hiranyagarbha Sukta. The Hiranyagarbha is further explored in the Bhagavad Puran and the Mahabharata. The Nasadeya Sukta is known as the creation hymn. Na Asat, which is the root of the word Nasadeya, means not the non-existent, a tongue twister if there ever was one. And while it is a hymn of praise, it also inspires skeptical analysis and rational thought. The Nasadeya begins with the statement, "Then there was neither non-existence nor existence." This then refers to the beginning of time. The Nasadeya then goes on to describe the state of nothingness as darkness covered by darkness. On the 3rd stanza, it goes on to declare that the Creator, the One, that came into being by the force of heat, literally an energetic reaction of elements. But interestingly, once the Nasadeya states this as a fact, it begins to question if this was true. The Nasadeya challenges the reader or the reciter with the question, is this what really happened? Do you have the confidence to declare this as the truth? The one that the Nasadeya refers to is on a completely higher plane of existence, as the text says that even the gods don't know about the Creator because they came after creation. It ends with the conflicting words, "Only the one who is the Creator may know the truth, but perhaps even they don't know." The nucleus of creation. Other verses in later books of the Vedas, including the Vedantas, try to give some more definition to this creator and identify it to be the Brahman. This one being named as the Brahman should not be considered the same as the god Brahma or the caste of the Brahmans. This Brahman is the highest universal principle and the ultimate reality of the universe. A single binding, unchanging entity responsible for all change. It is the Satchitanand, meaning truth, consciousness, and bliss, that gets manifest in the primordial sound of Om. The Hiranyagarbha Shukta exalts the Creator, attributing the creation of life of all creatures to it. Through its actions, the geography of the earth was created, including mountains and the seas. The directions of the worlds are described as the limbs of the One. The Hiranyagarbha itself is to be found floating on the waters of the beginning, called the Ekarnav, or the single sea. Hiranyagarbha literally means the golden womb. Hiranya meaning gold, and Garbha meaning womb. Poetically also referred to as the golden egg or the universal germ. The hymn glorifies the deity which was responsible for the creation of the universe. This hymn follows a structure with the first portion of every stanza glorifying the deity and in the last portion affirming that the One is worthy of worship. The first stanza is translated as, "In the beginning there was One, in its splendor as the golden womb, manifested as the sole Lord of land, skies, water, space, and everything that is beneath, and who upheld the earth and the heavens. This is the One we shall worship with our offerings." The Hiranyagarbha itself is further described in the Bhagavad Puran, the Puran dedicated to Vishnu. The egg itself contains the primordial matter, the basis of Prakriti, Prakriti meaning nature. There is an equilibrium of the three qualities of matter that make up the world. These three qualities being Sattva, which are the calming and harmonious qualities, Rajas, which denotes to the passion, activity, and movement of humans, and Tamas, which is the ignorance and inertia amongst all beings. When the matter in the egg is catalyzed by the primordial sound of Om, it splits and gives birth to the 23 tattvas or elements that make up the world. These tattvas are not just the physical elements of earth, fire, wind, water, air, space, but also collect and contain qualities and principles like intellect, ego, the mind, sight, hearing, touch. In this state, Purush, here not meaning man, but defined as consciousness, meets with Prakriti or nature to create the universe and prepare the ground for life. Creation myths from around the world. Hinduism is the largest surviving polytheistic faith today, but there were many ancient civilizations and people which had similar creation myths. Migrations from the Central Asian Iranian plateau into Asia and Europe formed many of the ancient civilizations. The common root of a shared language, and through that a shared cosmology, also led to a similar belief structure across the ancient people. Let's consider Zoroastrian cosmology. Ahura Mazda, the creator deity, took over 3,000 years for the material creation of the world. He created the world as an egg, first creating the sky that enclosed the world like the shell of an egg. He next created the waters which filled the lower half of the egg. The third to be created was the firmament of the earth which floated on the primordial water. After which he subsequently created the flora, fauna, and the other inhabitants of creation. In the West African Dogon tradition, Ama Dogon, the creator, was alone in the shape of an egg. The egg was divided into four elements: air, earth, fire, and water. Within this egg was the material and structure for all of creation. Far north in Finland, we have the Finnish national epic, the Kalavela, in which there is a myth of the world being created from the fragments of an egg laid by a golden-eyed duck on the knee of Ilmata, the goddess of the air. A translation from this text reads, "The egg's lower half transformed and became the earth below, and its upper half transmuted and became the sky above. From the yolk the sun was made, light of day to shine upon us. From the white the moon was formed, light of night to gleam above us. All the colored brighter bits rose to be the stars of heaven, and the darker crumbs changed into clouds and cloudlets in the sky." In ancient Egypt, Old Kingdom Pyramid texts from 2780 to 2250 BCE tell the story of how the world had arisen out of the primordial waters and the sky called Nu and Nonet. Ra, the sun god, rested in the waters in the form of Atum, and it was as Atum that he created the world before he began to rule and protect all creation as Ra. In ancient Greece, Gaia, the great mother, was created out of a state of nothingness called chaos. From her was formed Uranos, the sky. While civilizations connected by land may have similar beliefs, similar creation myths can be found in ancient civilizations separated by vast seas. The Popol Vuh tells the creation myth of the Mayan civilizations of the Yucatan Peninsula on the other side of the world. The Maya placed great importance on raising crops, and their creation story follows the geography and agricultural aspects of the Yucatan. The creation myth is written in the terms of farming. Like the Nasadea, the Popol Vuh reads that in the beginning there was the void, the nothingness. The world consisted of the sea and the sky, and the gods resided in either the sky or the sea, and they realized the great potential for the emptiness. Then two gods, Kukulkan, the feathered serpent from the sky, and Hurricane from the sea, came together to create the world. These two great thinkers filled the emptiness through dialogue. Whatever they said was created. The text describes the creation of the landscape and life of the earth in agricultural terms. The two gods theorize on how the earth will be sown and who will its provider be. This reflects the importance of agriculture for the Maya culture. From the very beginning of this ancient text, this aspect of Mayan life is stressed. Further east, according to Japanese Shinto stories, long ago all the elements were mixed together with one germ of life. This germ began to mix things around and around until the heavier part sank and the lighter part rose, thus creating a muddy sea that covered the entire earth. From this ocean grew a green shoot. It grew and grew until it reached the clouds, and there it was transformed into the gods. In the traditional tales of the native people of Australia, called the Dreamtime, in the beginning there was a period when the world was nothing and all the spirits were asleep, save one. The Sun Mother is awoken by the great Father of all spirits, the only one awake, and at his behest she comes down to a bare earth and walks around it, creating fields and valleys, waking spirits, melting ice, and sending rivers flowing. Through her actions, the entire bounty of the earth is released, and all manner of life is created. Building a correlation with science. Religion and science in the modern world are sometimes at odds, and it's something which always strikes me as strange. To me, religion and science are actually two sides of the same coin, and we all need a little bit of a belief in something which cannot be completely explained with facts. The idea is reinforced for me every day in the form of the Hiranyagarbha tattoo I actually have on my right arm. The Hiranyagarbha story reinforces a scientific belief, the formation of the universe as explained by the Big Bang theory. The theory states that the universe began as just a single point. Tiny particles combine together to form atoms. Atoms merge together, causing reactions, forming stars and galaxies and planets conducive to life, thus creating a universe that expanded and stretched to grow as large as it is now, and it continues to grow and stretch. If we were to compare the story of the cosmic egg across all these civilizations and look at the scientific theory of the Big Bang, one very recognizable point does become apparent. The ancient people, our ancestors, had a keen interest in how the world worked, and even within the realm of religious belief, they ensured respect for science and nature. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Aadi. For any comments, feedback, or any specific requests, please do write to comments@asabawal.com.